Let's get you through the USCIS and onto that green card fast and on the first try. In this video, we'll be breaking down the pitfalls to avoid that can significantly hurt your chances of success. And be sure to stick around until the very end, where we'll be discussing evidence and how you can actually hurt your chances if you aren't careful. If you're new to our channel, welcome. On this channel, we help ambitious professional couples handle their own marriage green card without making the mistakes we've made. Our immigration journey was prolonged by quite a bit of time, so yours doesn't have to. Now, you're likely at a place where you simply want to make sure that you don't make any mistakes and unnecessarily prolong your case. And you can prolong it and make it worse if you do it yourself, hire a lawyer, or whatever else you try, because there's always a risk. In order to ensure that you have the best chances, here are the top 3 things you want to take care of to get through this process right and on the first try. First, you're going to want to work on this process together. And this is more important than you think for 3 reasons. First, by working on this process together, both of you will know your case inside and out. This is your greatest insurance policy if you end up being called in for an interview. Now, you may think that you're not worried and might even welcome the interview, but so much of whether that will be a pleasant or unpleasant experience comes down to the specific officer you get, or maybe even the mood that they're in that specific day. In our member interview with Christian, he shared with us a story about his friend who was interviewed, or should I say interrogated, for over 4 hours. And you can check out the full interview here. Why was this the case? Because they got an unpleasant officer who made them feel very uncomfortable and stressed out. And because of that discomfort and stress, the sponsoring spouse had trouble remembering simple details about his immigrant wife, her parents, and etc. That was all the justification the officer needed to put them through, as Christian relayed in their words, the worst experience of their life. By the way, you can watch the full interview and learn how these things go here. Now, by working on this process together and deeply understanding the contents of your case, you can maintain more calm under pressure and not give any opportunity to even the worst of immigration officers to make your life hell. Second, working together promotes fairness in the relationship and avoids a buildup of resentment. Let's be honest here. The U.S. citizen spouse rarely is the one to take on this process or excessively worry about it. And in many ways, this makes sense. The immigrant spouse often has previous experience dealing with U.S. immigration from past visas, while the citizen spouse has probably never even interacted with the USCIS. But the issue often arises from the disproportionate levels of stress and fear. The immigrant spouse often feels like they have everything to lose. Margarita often stressed about deportation and what it would be like for us to be separated, and how life would look like moving forward after such a situation. It's often unimaginable to consider all the time spent adapting to a new home, life, and country, only to then have your life completely reset again because of immigration complications. In contrast, while the citizen spouse would of course be severely impacted by such a situation, there is still a level of personal stability retained by the nature of already being a citizen. In any case, by working together, you can bridge the gap, gain a deeper understanding of each other, and even strengthen your relationship. Which actually leads me to my next point. But before I do, drop a comment letting us know if you guys are splitting this responsibility or if just one of you is having to take it on all by yourself. Now, the third reason to work together is to actually avoid a divorce. As crazy as this point sounds, you'd be surprised at how often immigrant couples are strained by this experience to the point of separation. And let's be honest, while immigration is important, this journey is so much more than just that process. You guys fell in love, got married, truly committed to each other, and want to build a future together. And unfortunately, because one spouse is foreign to the United States, you're now going to have to go through a long and often very stressful experience of proving yourselves to the government. Working together on this process puts you both on the same team. You're both on the same page, and trust me, it matters. It helps to mitigate feelings of pressure that might otherwise be experienced by the spouse handling this process, and often brings you guys a lot closer. Our member Christian and his wife Linnea loved how our program allowed them to work on everything together.
All that material was going to be given to us in a way where we could help out, because even then I was able, one night I just went ahead and I did 3 forms by myself, because I was able to go through and do the research and then just show Christian and be like, hey, look at I've done my portion, I'm able to help you with yours. And I remember Christian being like, wow, we were able to work together on it instead of just it all being on him or even all being on me. It was very equally spread with the capacity that both of us had.
No matter their initial experience level with immigration, it helped them gain confidence in their knowledge and ultimately become closer in the relationship. and they learned a ton going through this together, which is why they kept referring to this experience as their marriage thesis. And when it comes to proving your relationship to the USCIS, becoming closer as a result of this process is definitely an advantage. Now, the second thing you're going to want to do to get through this process right and on the first try is to find healthy ways to manage stress. While working together is a great first step, this experience can still feel very isolating, especially for the immigrant spouse. Margarita was often down about being separated from her family, friends, familiar streets that she used to walk, her food, and so much more. That's why one of the first things to look for is a community. And I mean a real community, not a toxic Reddit community by any means. Having the right community is crucial because it can provide support and guidance during this challenging and often very overwhelming period in life. While finding communities that share cultural and other similar backgrounds can be very comforting from the homesick perspective, they often don't provide enough or correct support regarding the actual marriage adjustment of status journey, which is why the private community of our marriage immigration method program is so valuable to our members. From day one, you not only get a straightforward, step-by-step guide to properly assemble your application and deal with everything else that comes during this process, you also join a positive community of immigrant couples going through this exact same experience. So, if you're looking to maximize your chances of first-time success and join us in our supportive community, then we encourage you to apply using the links in the description and comment sections. But ultimately, a supportive community can offer emotional comfort during this stressful process. It can help couples cope with homesickness, cultural shock, and the uncertainties that come with immigration. And building relationships within the community also provides opportunities for personal growth, the development of new friendships, and a sense of belonging in your new homeland. Now, this next point not only reduces stress, it also improves your chances of quick success with the USCIS. And this is to develop hobbies. Firstly, immigration can easily become an obsession where every waking moment is consumed by paperwork, interviews, and worries about the future. You might not know it, but trust me, speaking from experience, that's a real deal. You may have heard us talk about it before, but until Margarita completed her entire journey, and that means initial green card, removal of conditions, and all the way until finally naturalization, we'd have immigration constantly on our mind, often leading to going on walks for multiple hours at a time where we'd discuss nothing but immigration in the hopes of figuring it all out and overcoming our stress and fears. And just so you know, it never actually happened. We weren't lawyers at the time, and we were experiencing this all for the very first time. Our obsession with immigration often led to more uncertainty, stress, fear, and even frustration with each other. So, engaging in hobbies provides a healthy escape from this stress, allowing you two to focus on something that you enjoy and temporarily shift your attention away from immigration-related concerns. Secondly, hobbies can be a valuable way to demonstrate the authenticity of your marriage and your assimilation to the United States. When you participate in local activities or clubs related to your interests, you not only build a social network, but also accumulate bona fide marriage evidence. This can include photographs of you and your spouse engaging in hobbies together, memberships in local organizations, even participation in community events. In the eyes of immigration officials, this can go a long way in improving your chances of approval. So, remember that developing hobbies isn't just about relaxation. It can also be a strategic move that can benefit your immigration journey in the long run. And the last point on finding healthy ways to manage stress is to cultivate patience. This journey is time-consuming, often requiring months or even years to complete. During this waiting period, impatience and frustration can easily creep in, causing unnecessary stress. But not only that, a lack of patience can actually ultimately hurt your chances of success and even make this process much longer. With patience, you're more likely to complete each step meticulously, ensuring all requirements are met. Immigration officials appreciate thoroughness, and your careful approach makes it easy for them to approve your case on the first pass, and even waive your interview altogether. This is exactly the advantage of the complete walkthrough you get as a part of our marriage immigration method. And within our community, you see how everyone else is getting approved by following the same process that we lay out, so that you can patiently assemble everything and maintain confidence once it's within the hands of the USCIS. Finally, this brings us to our final point, which is all about bona fide marriage evidence and ongoing submission. When it comes to getting through this process fast and on the first try, bona fide marriage evidence is everything. It's exactly how you demonstrate to the USCIS your real relationship. And the better you're able to show that you have a real marriage, the more likely you'll get through this journey extremely fast and without any interviews. But evidence can be tricky and even raise red flags with the USCIS. That's crazy, right? So be sure to wait until the very end so you don't make this very crucial mistake. We even give you the exact leaked USCIS document that you need to have as you collect your evidence. But first, you're going to want to start off by collecting all of the evidence that you currently have. And if you need any help with this, you can grab our free marriage evidence list included in the description below. From there, it's important to categorize your evidence by strength. Typically, there are 3 levels. From here, evaluate the picture of your relationship that has been created by this evidence. Do you do things together? Is it obvious that you actually do these things, or does it feel staged? Do other people know about your relationship? Do you share money, a home, a pet, etc.? By looking at your evidence from a bird's eye view, you can more easily begin supplementing where your evidence is weak, not solely by the levels of strength, but also by how the officer may interpret your relationship. And here's a pro tip. Have someone else review your evidence and ask them to let you know what was their first impression. It's so easy to make assumptions, but the USCIS officers see thousands of applications from immigrant couples and have nothing more than what you submit to them to determine if your relationship is real. But now to the second thing to do, which is to never stop collecting evidence. You heard me. Until the day you and your spouse gets through this entire immigration journey, you should continue to collect evidence the entire time. This is super important because you must continue to prove the legitimacy of your relationship. But don't only collect evidence, the USCIS allows the submission of unsolicited evidence. This is a huge opportunity to provide the USCIS with big updates in your lives after submission. Did you just buy a house or car together? Did you just have a baby? What other significant life event occurred for you both? Don't hold on to these things. By submitting this evidence, even after the initial application has been sent, you create a greater chance of success with your reviewing officer, giving them the justification to clear off their own plate of work by approving another straightforward case. And finally, while evidence is super important, do not overdo it. We've been talking about stress and fear a lot today. So it's easy for immigrant couples to really overdo it when it comes to evidence because, of course, they understand it's the foundation for their approval. But this can be a big mistake. In a leaked USCIS document, they specifically note that oversubmissions of evidence are an indication of fraud. So while you may just be overthinking immigration, to the reviewing officer, you may appear to be trying to manipulate them for an approval. But wait, not only does oversubmission raise red flags, the timing of submissions, as well as 50 plus more indicators, can also indicate fraud, which is why we've included the link to this document for you to review below. And you should check out the full breakdown we did on this document here. A successful immigration experience depends on so many factors, many of which have nothing to do with the forms or even the USCIS. Try to see the forest instead of getting stuck in the trees, and you'll get through this with your sanity in check. Thank you for watching. We look forward to seeing you next time.